stop scrolling and listen carefully, because what I'm about to say will change the way you see everyone around you. Most people in your life are not your friends. Most people you trust, laugh with, and share your dreams with are quietly holding you back. They pretend to care, but deep down, they are draining your energy, your confidence, and yet your ambition, and you don't even notice it. The shocking truth is that these people are the reason your life isn't moving as fast as it could. They are the invisible weight keeping you from reaching your full potential. You've been lied to your whole life about loyalty in relationships. You've been told to stay loyal, no matter what, to forgive everyone, and to give second chances. But here's the reality: nobody tells you loyalty to the wrong people is the fastest path to mediocrity. Every moment you waste on someone who undermines your growth is a moment stolen from your dreams. Every second spent managing their drama is energy taken from your ambition. And the scariest part, you might not even realize it is happening. These people wear masks. They laugh with you. They act like they're supportive. But their influence is subtle, silent, and deadly. By the time you notice, it's too late. You feel stuck, frustrated, and powerless, wondering why your potential hasn't exploded yet. But there's a way out. There's a method to break free from the people who weigh you down. The moment you recognize them, act, and remove them from your life, everything changes. Your energy skyrockets. Your clarity sharpens. Your focus becomes unstoppable. Doors start opening that you didn't even see before. And that's what this video is about. Stay with me until the very end, because I'm going to show you exactly who to remove, why you need to do it, and how that single decision can transform your life forever. By the time you finish watching, you'll see your circle, your energy, and your potential in a way you've never seen before. Some people in your life are not what they seem. You might think they are friends, supporters, or even mentors. You might trust them, share your dreams with them, laugh with them, and feel a sense of connection. But underneath that surface, there's something far more dangerous happening. Something subtle, yet corrosive. These are the people who quietly drain your energy. They do not cheer for your wins in the way you hope, and they do not carry you when you stumble. Instead, they whisper doubts into your mind. They celebrate your mistakes, or at the very least, they remain silent when you need encouragement the most. You may not notice it at first, because their effect is gradual, invisible, and almost insidious. But over time, you start to feel heavier, slower, less confident. Your motivation wanes, your ambition is muted, and your focus begins to slip. That's the real danger. Toxic people are not loud. They are quiet, patient, and persistent. They infiltrate your mindset like a virus, weakening your resolve without ever announcing themselves. You might be thinking, they are my friends. I have known them for years. They've been through a lot with me. That's exactly why it's so hard to see it. Emotional attachment blinds us. Familiarity is comforting, even when it's poisonous. But the truth is that longevity in a relationship does not equal loyalty to your growth. There is a stark difference between someone who stands by you while you evolve and someone who stands by you only while you remain small. The second type of person is a silent obstacle. They benefit from your stagnation because it allows them to feel safe, superior, or simply comfortable. When you grow, they often react with jealousy, subtle criticism, or withdrawal. They might call it concern or advice, but in reality, it is a form of control. Their presence keeps you tethered to mediocrity, and their influence can be more dangerous than outright enemies, because you rarely see it coming. Think about this Energy is not infinite. Every interaction you have leaves an imprint on your mindset, your emotional state, and your focus. Some people energize you. They challenge you to be better, push you toward your goals, and inspire your next move. Others, however, drain you. They leave you exhausted, confused, and doubting yourself. They plant seeds of insecurity that grow into obstacles you didn't even know existed. And the worst part is, you may not even realize it is happening. It's subtle. A comment here, a doubt there, a half-hearted compliment, a passive-aggressive remark. Over time, it accumulates and becomes a weight you carry without knowing it. And this is why removing toxic people is not optional. It is essential. Because your energy, focus, and drive are your most valuable resources, and wasting them on people who diminish them is a luxury you cannot afford. Now, let's be clear. Identifying these people requires brutal honesty with yourself. It is not about labeling everyone you disagree with as toxic. It is not about cutting off anyone who challenges you. Growth demands challenge. But there is a difference between challenge that lifts you and challenge that constrains you. Toxic people do not challenge you to grow. They challenge you to question yourself in ways that make you smaller. They ask questions that make you doubt your worth, your ideas, and your ambition. They make your victories feel incomplete or undeserved. They make your setbacks feel catastrophic. And if you spend enough time around them, you begin to internalize their doubts. You start questioning your own instincts, your own abilities, your own vision. And that, my friends, is the quietest, most effective form of sabotage. You may also notice that these people often come in disguise. Sometimes they appear as supporters, as loyal friends, or even as mentors. They give advice, but it is advice rooted in fear, caution, and limitation. They seem to help you, but the help comes with strings attached, strings you may not see until you are tangled in them. They encourage decisions that are safe rather than bold, convenient rather than transformative, and familiar rather than revolutionary. And because they are close to you, because you trust them, because you want to believe in the bond you share, you often give them more weight than they deserve. But the truth is, no person should have the power to dictate your courage, your drive, or your destiny. It is important to understand, and not recognizing these people is not about hate or resentment. It is not about vilifying anyone. It is about awareness, clarity, and self-preservation. Growth is not a democratic process where everyone in your life has a say. Your life, your energy, your ambitions, they belong to you, and you alone. Protect them. Guard them. Invest them wisely. Those who drain you, who sow doubt, who celebrate setbacks, they do not deserve a place in the arena where your greatness is forged. And when you finally see this clearly, something remarkable happens. You gain a new perspective, a new sense of control, and a new freedom. Freedom from manipulation, freedom from distraction, freedom from people who are not built to elevate you. Let me be direct. The people who silently drain you are the invisible chains holding you back. They are the reason you hesitate. They are the reason you stay comfortable when you should be ambitious. They are the reason your dreams feel distant. And the most shocking truth is that they are often people you care about, people you love, people you trust. That's what makes it so dangerous, and what makes it so critical that you act. So, the question you must ask yourself today is this: who in your life is quietly draining your energy, slowing your progress, and diminishing your potential? Not every disagreement, not every critique, but who truly leaves you lighter when they are gone, who lifts you up, and who weighs you down. The answer will not always be comfortable. It will not always be easy. But facing it, acknowledging it, and acting on it is the first step toward freedom. Because here's the ultimate truth: your energy is the most powerful resource you have. Protect it, cherish it, and stop giving it to people who are not invested in your greatness. When you remove the silent drains, the people who weaken your fire, you create space for clarity, for growth, for opportunities that once seemed impossible. You reclaim your focus, your ambition, and your power. And from that moment forward, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you from becoming who you were meant to be. So start looking closely at your circle. Start seeing clearly. Start protecting your energy. Toxic people may hide in plain sight, but once you recognize them, once you understand their impact, you have the choice: tolerate mediocrity or demand greatness. And the choice is yours. Remember this: some people are not meant to be in your life, and the moment you remove them is the moment you take your first real step toward freedom, power, and unstoppable growth. Removing the wrong people from your life is not just a choice, it is a necessity. It is the difference between remaining trapped in mediocrity and stepping into a life of extraordinary growth. Too many people treat relationships as if loyalty is an unbreakable bond, no matter the cost. They cling to friendships, partnerships, or even family connections, convinced that enduring the struggle is virtuous. But endurance alone is not virtue. Loyalty to people who hold you back is not loyalty. It is weakness disguised as morality. You are not betraying anyone by choosing yourself. You are not abandoning anyone by prioritizing your growth. On the contrary, removing toxic influences is the most honest, courageous, and transformative act you can take for your life. Understand this clearly: growth requires space. It requires clarity. It requires freedom from the invisible chains that limit your thinking, your confidence, and your potential. Toxic people, those who whisper doubt, celebrate failure, or subtly undermine your ambition, occupy mental and emotional space that should belong entirely to you. They distract you from your goals, dilute your energy, and corrupt your focus. And the shocking truth is, most people allow this to happen not because they are unaware, but because they are afraid. Afraid of confrontation. Afraid of loneliness. Afraid of being judged. But the cost of fear is far greater than the discomfort of cutting someone off. Every moment spent accommodating people who diminish your potential is a moment stolen from the life you were meant to lead. Many will tell you, but cutting someone off is cruel. That is a misconception rooted in fear, not wisdom. Removing someone from your life is not cruelty. It is clarity. It is a recognition of truth. It is the courage to acknowledge that your energy is sacred and that not everyone deserves a seat at your table. When you continue to allow someone to drain you, you are complicit in your own limitation. You are consenting to remain smaller, slower, less focused, less powerful. Removing the wrong people is an act of liberation, a declaration that your growth is non-negotiable. It is not a personal vendetta. It is a strategic, necessary step to ensure that you can flourish without interference. Think about it this way: the people you allow around you shape the trajectory of your life far more than you realize. Your habits, your mindset, your daily choices, your confidence. These are all influenced by your circle. If your inner circle is dominated by negativity, doubt, or complacency, then your own thoughts and actions will inevitably be contaminated. You may resist consciously, but subconsciously, their attitudes seep into you. They set the standard for what you accept, tolerate, and expect from yourself. And when that standard is lower than your potential, you pay a steep price. You may achieve, but never excel. You may survive, but never thrive. You may try, but never dominate. The influence of the wrong people is a silent thief, stealing moments, energy, and opportunities from a life that could have been extraordinary. The act of removing these people is not easy. It is uncomfortable. It is often met with resistance, and it sometimes comes with guilt. You may wonder, am I being too harsh? Am I overreacting? The answer is simple no. Growth is uncomfortable by nature. Transformation is rarely painless. And anyone who truly understands your ambition, anyone who truly values your potential, will respect your need to set boundaries, even if it hurts in the short term. In fact, those who react negatively to your decision are often the clearest confirmation that you are doing the right thing. Their discomfort is not yours to fix. It is evidence of the imbalance they created in your life and the imbalance you are now correcting. It is also important to understand that removing people does not require confrontation, drama, or explanations. You do not owe anyone a justification for prioritizing your life. You do not need to argue, debate, or defend your decision. The moment you realize that your energy is limited and your growth is sacred, the choice becomes obvious. You simply stop engaging in the behaviors that allow them to drain you. You stop answering the calls, replying to the messages, tolerating the negativity, or entertaining the doubts. You create distance. You reclaim space. And in doing so, you send a powerful signal to the universe your growth is non-negotiable and your potent isle is untouchable. Here is the paradox of growth. When you remove the wrong people, life does not get emptier, it gets richer. The discomfort of their absence is temporary, but the freedom it creates is permanent. The mental clarity you gain allows you to think bigger, plan sharper, and move faster. The energy you reclaim powers your creativity, your ambition, and your resilience. The focus you achieve allows you to pursue opportunities that were previously invisible because you were too distracted, too drained, too weighed down to see them. In essence, removing toxic influences is the catalyst that converts potential into reality. It is the act that separates the dreamers from the doers, the stagnant from the unstoppable. And make no mistake, growth is not a passive process. You cannot wish your way into greatness. You cannot hope your way past mediocrity. You cannot negotiate with energy thieves and expect to thrive. Growth demands action, and action demands choices. It demands courage, clarity, and decisiveness. It demands the willingness to be uncomfortable, to face resistance, and to endure temporary solitude for permanent elevation. Every great achiever, every visionary, very person who has broken the limits of ordinary life has understood this principle. They have made difficult choices about who remains in their circle and who is no longer permitted to occupy mental and emotional space. They have removed people, ideas, and influences that were incompatible with their vision. And the result is always the same: freedom, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. So today, consider this carefully. Who in your life is holding you back? Who is quietly draining your energy, diluting your focus, and contaminating your ambition? Who forces you to question yourself when you should be confident? Who sows doubt when you should be dreaming bigger? These are not friends, companions, or allies. They are obstacles. And the moment you accept this truth, the moment you act on it, everything changes. You no longer negotiate with mediocrity. You no longer tolerate limitations disguised as loyalty. You no longer allow your growth to be compromised by people who are not aligned with your vision. You remove them, and in doing so, you remove the barriers to your own greatness. Remember, this growth is not a gift, it is a responsibility. It is a commitment to yourself that can not be diluted, delayed, or compromised. The people you allow in your life determine the speed, quality, and scope of that growth. Removing the wrong people is not cruelty, it is wisdom. It is clarity, it is courage, and it is the first step toward the extraordinary life you were meant to lead. So act decisively. Remove the obstacles disguised as people. Reclaim your energy. Protect your focus. And watch how your life transforms when you make the choice to prioritize your growth above all else. Because when you do, you are no longer held back, weighed down, or restrained. You are free. You are powerful. You are unstoppable. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in your way. Once you remove the people who drain your energy and hold you back, something extraordinary begins to happen. The weight that has been pressing down on your mind, your ambitions, and your confidence starts to lift. For the first time, perhaps in years, you feel what it is like to breathe freely, to think clearly, to act decisively. Freedom is not just the absence of toxicity, it is the presence of possibility. It is the space in which your ideas, your ambition, and your energy can finally flourish. And what most people fail to understand is that this freedom is not just emotional, it is tangible. It transforms the way you think, the way you act, and the way the world responds to you. When you are no longer carrying the invisible chains of others' doubts and limitations, your mind expands. You can focus with precision, plan with clarity, and pursue your goals without hesitation. The distractions that once seemed unavoidable, the constant second guessing, the subtle undermining, the passive negativity, are gone. You are no longer forced to justify your choices or to manage the emotions of those who do not support you. Every moment, every thought, every ounce of energy belongs to you. And when energy is reclaimed, growth becomes inevitable. Opportunities that were invisible before suddenly appear because your mind is now free to see them. Your creativity is sharper, your problem-solving faster, and your courage stronger. The freedom you gain by removing the wrong people acts like a catalyst, accelerating your journey in ways you could not have imagined while trapped in the weight of their influence. Think about the paradox for a moment. Many people fear removing toxic influences because they worry about being alone, about losing friends, about social discomfort. And yet, it is precisely in that discomfort that power is born. The moment you choose solitude over stagnation, clarity over confusion, and freedom over false loyalty, you open a door that leads directly to personal and professional elevation. The world may seem quiet at first, but that quiet is not emptiness. It is the fertile ground where your life will grow in ways you never thought possible. It is a blank canvas, free from smudges and distractions, where you can paint the life you were always capable of creating. Freedom does not just give you space. It gives you control. When the wrong people are removed from your life, you reclaim control over your decisions, your habits, and your focus. You are no longer negotiating your actions or your thoughts with the doubts or negativity of others. You are no longer measuring your potential against someone else's comfort or insecurity. You are finally in charge of your energy, your time, and your destiny. And this control is profound because it creates momentum. Once you realize that you no longer need to compromise your growth for the sake of someone else's fear, or jealousy, you move faster. You act more decisively. You take bold steps that were previously impossible because the invisible resistance is gone. Freedom, in this sense, is not just liberation. It is power. It is the power to create, the power to grow, and the power to rise. And here's another layer that most people overlook. Freedom attracts opportunity. When you remove toxic influences, you are sending a signal, not just to yourself, but to the universe, that you are no longer willing to settle for mediocrity. You are no longer a passive participant in life. you are an active force. People, situations, and opportunities naturally align with energy that is clear, focused, and powerful. Those who are drawn to your energy now will elevate you, challenge you in productive ways, and push you toward your next level. Those who once slowed you down or dimmed your light are no longer in the equation, and the space they leave is immediately filled with possibility. Freedom, in this sense, becomes a magnet for growth, abundance, and achievement. It is also important to recognize that freedom comes with responsibility. It is not a license for recklessness, impulsivity, or indulgence. True freedom is disciplined. It requires that you protect the space you have created and use it wisely. You now have the energy and clarity to pursue meaningful goals, to cultivate relationships that elevate, and to make choices that align with your highest potential. Every decision matters more when you are free, because each choice shapes the trajectory of your life in a way that was previously obscured by the distractions and limitations imposed by toxic people. Freedom is a tool, and like any tool, its value depends on how intentionally it is used. Many people underestimate the psychological impact of this liberation. For years, they may have felt trapped, exhausted, or frustrated without understanding why. Once the wrong people are removed, the mental fog lifts. You start thinking bigger, dreaming larger, and acting bolder. Confidence returns, not as a vague feeling, but as a steady, unshakable force. You realize that you were never powerless, you were simply weighed down by the invisible influence of others. And once that influence is your potential becomes visible, tangible, and unstoppable. Freedom has this almost magical effect. It does not just remove obstacles. It reveals opportunities that were always there, hidden behind the noise of unnecessary interference. And here is the most empowering part. The transformation is internal as much as it is external. You begin to understand your own worth, your own power, and your own vision for life. You learn that growth is non-negotiable, that ambition is not optional, and that your energy is the most valuable currency you possess. The people you remove are not just obstacles. They are mirrors reflecting the limits you allowed into your life. By removing them, you break the cycle of limitation. You step into a higher standard of existence, one where you no longer accept compromise, mediocrity, or half-hearted effort. You operate on a new frequency, and the universe responds accordingly. Now, imagine the possibilities when this freedom is fully realized. You pursue projects with total focus. You create relationships that inspire and challenge. You move toward your goals with unmatched clarity and momentum. Opportunities present themselves in ways that seemed impossible before. And most importantly, you finally understand that your life is yours and yours alone, to shape, direct, and elevate. Freedom is not just the absence of toxicity. It is the presence of unstoppable power. So today, reflect deeply. What would your life look like if every ounce of your energy was fully yours? What could you accomplish if no one in your circle was limiting your ambition or questioning your worth? What doors could open if you operated with complete clarity, focus, and determination? The truth is, all of this is within reach. It begins with the courage to remove the wrong people, to protect your energy, and to reclaim the space that was always meant for your growth. Remember, this freedom is not a reward. It is a responsibility. It is not passive. It is active. It is the space in which your power multiplies, your opportunities expand, and your life accelerates beyond what you previously imagined. Protect it. Honor it, and use it. Because the moment you do, you are no longer limited by others, no longer slowed by negativity, and no longer trapped by the expectations or doubts of anyone but yourself. Freedom creates power. Power creates opportunity. Opportunity, why creates a life that is unstoppable, extraordinary, and fully yours. And never forget, when you remove what does not serve you, you do not lose. You gain everything.